Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to the channel, where we have been doing ROCKTOBER. And continuing with ROCKTOBER, where we have been listening to different rock albums throughout the month of October, we continue the series on to today's listen, that of course being Meatloaf's 1977 record, Bat Out of Hell. Now, like I said in my previous video when I said I was going to be checking this one out, I have never listened, of course, to Bat Out of Hell. However, I do own the nifty little cassette right here, which I picked up at a thrift store once, and I only got it because a friend of mine saw it, said, hey, this is a nifty little one, liked the cover. I thought it was a cool cover. I thought it was actually going to be like a metal album, even though I knew Meatloaf was more rock focused. However, the cover really threw me for a loop. I thought the cover was kind of badass, not gonna lie. It's maybe a little tacky to some, but come on, like, that's sick. That's wild. Tell me that's not a metal cover. Kind of reminds me of Painkiller by Judas Priest, to be honest with you. Very similar in style, except that one's blue. But it does have kind of a similar image going on from what I can tell and from what I remember. That being said, checking it out today, Bat Out of Hell. I'm pretty excited. 46 minutes, 7 tracks, meaning some of these tracks are pretty lengthy. The opener being nearly 10 minutes long, just shy of it. And the last 2 tracks being 8.5 minutes, roughly each. I don't know too much about this record, though, other than the fact that it is, Meatloaf on the vocals. But all the songs are written and, I guess, kind of put together by Jim Steinman, who seems to be, truthfully, from what I gather from what I was reading, the main artist at hand. It's just he chose Meatloaf as the vocalist because Meatloaf seems to, I guess, match what he needed, which, no harm in that. A great collab. But kicking it off, though, title track, Bat Out of Hell, 10 minutes. Oh. Waste no time just getting into things with this rapid piano. I really like this piano work. Super, like, skittery. Kind of all over the place. Roy Baton. Or no, John Simon is on the keyboards, I think. Squeal. Certainly feels rock and roll. Oh, some classic soaring guitars here. I believe that's Todd here on the guitar. Lots of emotion in it. Sounds like surprisingly sweet. He's Meatloaf. It's like a really sweet song so far, melodically and vocally, lyrically. Seems quite sweet, quite romance heavy. I did not expect this voice either from Mr. Meatloaf because I only really know him from Fight Club. Hefty dude. Was a hefty dude. I believe he passed, unfortunately. R.I.P. to Meatloaf. But even still, you see his image, sort of up here, does not look like the figure that would be singing in such a sweet and kind of classic, kind of rock and roll fashion. But he's not your typical bad boy rock star. A classic rock and roll kind of narrative here. It's gonna leave this woman as soon as the morning comes. Oh. Yeah, this is... It's very theatrical, very kind of musical in its focus. Like a solid, you know, musical you'd go and see at the theater, as they may say. Kind of reminds me of a more rock and roll infused Queen, maybe. Very sweet sentiments throughout this track. A little cheesy, but like that classic 70s cheese. Man, he hits those notes. He belts it out quite smoothly. Soars very carefully with those notes. And I love how much the instrumental takes the stage when it needs to. Again, very musically driven. Oh, I love the chord progressions too with these guitars. Just like super beautiful, super melodic, you know, very carefully escalating and de-escalating. And that drum pummels. I love how dramatic this all sounds. This is what I mean. Incredible opener. Incredible opener. Such an epic. There's that Harley, perhaps, riding away. Oh my God, it just keeps going. Whenever I feel like it's doing a come down, it completely shifts its direction. Kind of remind me of like Ballroom Blitz or like I don't know, kind of Rocky Horror Picture Show in a way. Just super, I don't even know how to describe it. Super theatrical, I guess, is the main way to say it. Oh, the slow kind of beating like the heart there. He is an incredible vocalist, incredible performer. Oh. Super epic, carefully building, well paced too. At 10 minutes did not feel like it. I feel like it kind of flew by. It's got such a driving energy with plenty of slower moments to break it up, where he really comes into that performer role of like a musician, of a musical act, one might say. Very theatrical, and like lyrically and vocally, I don't know if, you know, many musicians, rock musicians, hold a candle when it comes to just writing a simple song about what I'm gathering is just like women and biking. Is that what I'm gathering here? Such a standard in rock music, but a lot of it feels quite derivative of one another. But this one, super unique, very original in its execution. 10 minutes. It sticks to the landing. And Meatloaf, vocally, just incredible. Like, center stage, spotlight on him, pouring his heart out for this girl. Beautiful. Incredible opener. Did not expect that. A little cheesy, one might say. But, God, it's done so tastefully at the same time. Let's go into You Took the Words Right Out of My Mouth. Hot Summer Night. Like even the track list, all of it sounds pretty standard.
Night, would you offer your throat to the wolf with the red roses?
Huh?
Will he offer me his mouth?
Yes.
Where is this going?
Will he offer me his teeth?
Yes.
Oh.
Will he offer me his jaws?
Yes.
Will he offer me his hunger?
Yes.
I believe this is Jim
Again?
doing the spoken
Will
word.
he offer me his hunger?
Yes. Would you offer your throat to the wolf with the red roses?
Kind of gross.
Yes.
I bet you say that to all the boys.
I don't know. That opener is a little nasty. Although I will say lyrically, Jim, I believe is the main songwriter here. He's got a certain talent with the pen. Even that opener, as gross as it sounds, very theatrical, very, I would say, narrative focused in a sense, or very literate. He's a good songwriter, clearly. Can't knock him for that. This is a bit more traditional vocally so far. Kind of has like a Christmas kind of a feel to it. Oh, I like these backup vocals. Tell me this isn't a musical. It is, right? Like, am I crazy? Is there a musical of this? There should be if there's a musical, I'm going to throw it up here. Incredible. It should be a musical. Because those backup vocals feel like your classic, just like Broadway stage sort of musical. This one's even heavier on the kind of cheesiness of things. But I still really enjoy it. I don't know if rock is the word that comes to mind when I hear it. Maybe poppy, maybe theatrical, but it's the more, I don't know how to describe it. It's a different avenue of rock, that's for sure, which I'm excited to hear because it's a different avenue on this channel. And I do love a good musical. Lyrics like that too. It's again pretty standard for rock. There's like sweet, sappy love songs, but I love the way it's written. I love how kind of cheeky and poetic it is. I like the back and forth between the slower passages and the more operatic moments. I love how just like, again, very sweet this one is. Well produced too. Everything's super well mixed. Like a good musical. Ooh, love those back vocals. Who is that? Kind of has like a soul flair to it. Oh. Oh my God. Tell me this isn't a musical. Beautiful outro too. Oh my God. It's so standard in its concept. Like I said, it's so straightforward, just like sweet, sappy love songs so far that are very, run of the mill, especially in 70s rock scene. But the way that it is approached by Meatloaf and Jim here is so incredibly unique. Especially for an album as popular and as big as this. It's so bizarre to me just how musical based it is. This is 100% kind of like a theater, a Broadway show, but being done so with some standard kind of rock aspects tied into it. And Meatloaf, like, incredible singer. I feel like he should be in the conversation more often for just like great singers of the 70s. You get the standard musicians often talked about, Led Zeppelin's vocalist, who I am blanking on, even though I love Led Zeppelin. Of course, you got Freddie. You've got Prince, which more 80s. But you get a lot of great singers, is what I'm saying, from the 70s and 80s. And Meatloaf, I think, should be put up there with some other incredible, talented vocalists. He is just as unique and as original as them. Let's keep going to Heaven Can Wait.
Heaven can wait, and a band of angels wrapped up in my heart.
Be a softer ballad this time around.
Will take, and all the gods come down here just to sing for me.
Again, like, this feels like the softer moment in a musical.
He's gonna make
It feels more heart-wrenching.
without pain, without fear.
Maybe our character's all alone here
Give me all of
in his
your
thoughts.
dreams and let me go along on your way. Give me all of your
He's at rock bottom emotionally.
now. Turn the night.
I don't know what it is, but it's got a very winter-esque tone to this one. You know, it's kind of cold. The sound is very kind of desolate in nature. It's like our protagonist here is giving it his all.
And I know that I've been released, but I don't know who
And
to
he seems
blame.
lost.
Nobody's gonna tell, and all I got is time until the end.
Love just like the overall sorrow, the loneliness.
I won't look her shine.
Perhaps a track about faith,
Heaven can wait.
a prayer for himself.
Heaven can wait.
Even those hushed moments are belted out.
Well, I won't.
A very sweet ballad. Kind of breaks up the pace of those two opening tracks, slows things down dramatically, full of sorrow, full of pain. A very desolate, lonely track that one is. But I really liked it. I liked the change of pace, and it's certainly continuing the kind of musical sort of narrative in a sense. You know, like that's a clearing of the stage. We got our main star on focus here, pouring his heart out to the audience, but with a sense of loneliness, as if he's just by himself in darkness, letting out his inner thoughts. And that's how that track felt. Sung with such beautiful sorrow by Meatloaf. I liked that one a lot. It was very gentle, and it felt pivotal to the track in a way, especially after those two openers being so just in your face, fast paced, and kind of just showboaty in a way. That one was still very showboaty and cheesy, one might say, but just the right amount of cheese and delivered in just the right fashion, I would say. Continuing on to All Revved Up with No Place to Go. I feel like it's going to continue that fast-paced tempo that we kind of kick things off with, given the title here. These horns coming in this sax, I believe. Edgar Winter on the sax. Which, Edgar Winter on the sax here, I just want to note, I did have somebody Shadow Edgar Winter group as a recommendation in one of my previous videos. Stick around if you are that user who suggested an album from them. Again, this one not as fast as I expected, but still very musically heavy. I like the horns coming on this one too. Adds a little slight funky, kind of brassy feel to the mix. And I believe that's Edgar Winter, right? If I'm not mistaken. Kind of reminds me of Grease as well. Maybe it's just the musical influences, but kind of like that vintage, almost doo-wop inspired. Oh. Is that the sax still with Edgar Winter? Just very cyclical. Super showy. Got like this classic 50s, 60s sound. And I believe that's Jim on the piano. Meatloaf. Just like screaming it out. Oh, Belton, they're out here to close out the track. Meatloaf, incredible vocalist, and man, does he just like belts out those lines as we close out the track. Very classic rock and roll, very 60s and 50s kind of doo-wop inspired. Kind of feels like something that could have been slid onto Grease quite simply. Very, like, again, such a musical focus, very theatrical. Loving this album so far. It's so, cheesy, but it's very self-aware, it feels like. Very showboaty, and I love the brassy kind of saxophone that came into from Mr. Edgar Winter. Carrying on, we've got 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Maybe we can talk all night. I wish you wouldn't make me leave here. I poured it on and I
Another slow,
poured it out.
sweet ballad here.
I tried to show you just how much I care. Iron icicles instead of tears. And all I can do.
Kind of cheesy, but poetic at the same time, I guess. The you've been so cold to me for so long that I'm crying icicles instead of tears. A little silly, but I mean, I kind of like it. Certainly fits the dramaticness, the melodrama of the album.
Is keep on telling you I want you. I need you.
Some nice sappy backup vocals, kind of complements it still.
I'm never gonna love you. Now don't be sad. Live hiding at the bottom of the Cracker Jack box.
I don't even know what to make of that line. Again, very silly lyricism up against a very dramatic performance.
And she kept on telling me, she kept on telling me, she kept on telling me I want you, I need you.
Oh, I just love how sweet that set of lyrics is.
Don't be sad,
Very soulful in a sense too.
'cause 2 out of 3
Oh, I love those synths there in the background there. That key. Quite nice, that progression. There's like a lighter in the audience type song. So sweet and slow. I like that one. It's sweet, it's melodic, it's very gentle. Let's go into Paradise by the Dashboard Light. 193 million streams, almost 194, just shy of it. Another track that is 8.5 minutes. It's a lengthy one, and it seems like this is the standout track, which is shocking. Has almost 100 million more than that of the opening self-titled track, Bat Out of Hell. So, impressive. Let's see how it goes. I am curious. Oh. Kind of like your classic rock and roll, kind of bluesy tone. Another sweet rock and roll, you know, him and his girl type track. Oh, I wonder what they're doing in this car. I think we know. Oh, this does sound familiar. I recognize that. But I don't know this part. Those powerful backup vocals. Ooh. Trading duties to the female here. I wonder who this lovely lady is in Meatloaf's car. Miss Ellen Foley seems to be, here it is. Who has appeared, by the way, it says here, on Broadway. You can, I mean, hey, like I've been saying, certainly has that Broadway musical tone. That teenage love. Common rock trope. Oh. Again, continuing that sort of doo-wop sort of style. A little full of himself there with that big surprise. What? Where are we going? Completely shifted. I was about to speak, but oh my god, getting funky now. The amount of genres being spliced in this track. Speaking on the sex and innuendos here for sure. Like a narrator, an announcer. Oh. Phil Scooter Rizzuto. Oh. What a interesting, unique, incredible, one might say, approach to the subject matter there. I love the play-by-play provided by Mr. Phil Scooter Rizzuto, who is an American Major League Baseball shortstop player. They really pulled in a MLB player to announce that section. That is absolutely mind-boggling. I don't know if I've ever heard something so strange on a rock album, and that's saying something, but like it's just so unexpected on something that, you know, at times can feel safe. But I feel like this album has been so impressive with its risks. It's a musical, it's rock, it's doo-wop, it's soul, it's funky. Man, it is bad out of hell.
Before we go any further, do you love me?
Oh,
Love me forever, do you need
she's stopping him
me? Will you never leave
to
me?
ask that question.
So happy for the rest of my life. Will you take me
Only
away?
17, that's a big ask.
Will you wife? Do you love me? Will you love me forever? Before we go any further,
They're not gonna.
will you love me forever?
He's not getting the home run.
Let me sleep on it. Baby, baby, let me sleep on it.
He's blowing his chance here.
It's
not happening. So close there, Meatloaf. Oh, I love how humorous this is. It's so funny. This whole scenario, the songwriting.
What's it gonna be, boy? Come on. I can wait all night.
He's gonna say no.
What's it gonna be, boy? Yes or no? What's it gonna be, boy? Yes or no?
Let me sleep on it. Baby, baby, let me sleep on it. Well, let me sleep on it. I'll give it 1 ounce when I'm on it.
I gotta know right now.
Let me sleep on it.
Will you love me forever?
Oh my god. This is such a I'm speechless at this whole second half of the track. It's so funny, so full of humor. The double kind of vocals. He's gonna say yes. Oh. This is a perfect track. Kind of reworking in some of those earlier lyrics too. Oh man, that is one of the most comedically driven tracks I've heard in a minute. So just like funny, so well done, so theatrical as it tells this very unique, maybe not so unique, very relatable in some sense, sexcapade between these two, you know, young, basically kids, teenagers, 17, who, you know, he says yes, he'll love her forever. He commits to it, it seems, in the end. He doesn't, you know, he's not lying, but now he's trapped in this, you know, relationship until the end of time, simply because he wanted to, you know, get one off, one might say. Wanted to hit that home run, which it seems he does. So it's a careful what you ask for kind of situation. But man, is it so well done. The double sort of vocals back and forth between him and Ellen Foley, it would seem, would be the lead female vocalist there, does a great job. Super theatrical. I loved the play-by-play. I almost forgot about that. Incredible. An MLB player, an actual Major League Baseball player, providing an entire passage on top of a track that was already so just like absurdly silly and theatrical. You get that right in the middle section. Blew my mind. I think that is the best track so far. And that's saying a lot because I feel like this album has been just banger after banger. Even the slower tracks have really hit hard because I think the vision here from Mr. Jim Steinman and Meatloaf is very concrete, very clear, and very just relatable in a sense. I love it. I love this album. But we're not even done. We have one more track, and then I will talk on the whole thing, which is For Crying Out Loud is the last track here. It is 8 minutes, 45 seconds. Let's go. Starting slower. Is this going to be a slower ballad that maybe perhaps builds up into a massive finale for the album? That last track really would have worked as a closer.
And I never knew how far down I was falling before I reached inside my aching heart. And can't you see my faded Levi's?
A little heartbreak track to close things out.
And don't you hear me cry?
Oh. The growl, that piano, building up the passion. Oh. I love this sweeter finish to the album, this heartbreak. I love how diverse the track list has been with the more epic, grand tracks that are much more energized between these like slower, more, melodic ballads. This one too, decently paced so far too. Some strings. Some strings. Oh my god. A lot of strings. Very full of sorrow.
I could laugh, but you could cry. Inside my aching heart.
Oh.
And can't you see my faded Levi's bursting?
This is like such a touching instrumental. It's so damn. You could feel the pain, the aching in the instrumental alone. Okay. Oh, he's on his knees here. Oh my god. Those drums, so just like heavy. Coming back down now. reining it all in.
For giving me the answers when I'm asking you why. And my, oh my, for that I thank you.
So beautiful lyrics, absolutely stunningly beautiful lyrics.
For taking in the sun when I'm
Matching,
feeling
I would say,
slow.
some of the campy cheesiness of the album,
When my body
the melodrama,
is old.
but it is very pretty.
And don't you know, for that I need you. Taking and forgiving and for playing the game, for praying for my future in the days that remain.
Oh,
Lord, for that I hold you.
such a confidence in his vocals.
Most of all, for crying out loud, for that I love you. Most of all, for crying out loud, for
Oh,
that I love you.
those horns, monumental.
When you cry out loud, you know I love.
And just the piano to close it. Whew. That is a powerful finish. Super dramatic. Like, melodramatic, sure. Cheesy. Maybe a little campy. But certainly feels self-aware. And most of all, it is very beautifully done. And extremely well-produced and mixed, I would say. Nothing here is kind of hushed out or muffled away or overblown or overdone. Everything feels quite balanced, quite dynamic. It's a very great, solid, just pure mix that perfectly executes the musical kind of fashion of the album. But for crying out loud, I gotta say that is a great closer. It's very heart-wrenching. It hits the melodrama perfectly. And, it's not as zany as track 6, Paradise by the Dashboard Light, but it keeps things down a little bit more grounded to close out the album, while still feeling as, epic as the rest of the album. But that's what I want to say for the bulk of the album. I would use the word epic. It feels like an epic. It feels like a melodrama. It feels like a Broadway play that I just heard in only 46 minutes. This thing delivers with every track, feeling so grand. You explore so many different genres. Funk, rock, soul, kind of doo-wop inspired, kind of 50s, 60s sort of, sonic soundscapes. I gotta say, this is a very, just like, massive album. Despite only being 46 minutes, it feels even larger than itself. And I love that. Every track here, I liked. I didn't dislike a single track because everything kept me on the edge of my seat. And I think that is one of the most important things you can have in an album that is so bold like this one here. Bat Out of Hell, incredible opener. Kicks things off, I thought, wow, that had a high energy to it. I didn't think anything on the track list would be as, I would say, grand maybe as that one. But then I heard Paradise by the Dashboard Light, and I gotta say, that is by far, hands down, the most just like varied and insane tracks I've heard on any album in a while. Maybe as zany as something like for recent listens on this channel, like Jordy Greep's The New Sound, which is a brand new album, just came out this year. Incredible album, but for some reason the zaniness, the very character heavy focus, the very story driven and kind of weird concepts all coming together here, the very musical fashion kind of reminds me of that album. But Bat Out of Hell obviously did this all the way back in 1977. Obviously it's not a prog rock record like that one is, but still I gotta say this album is just weird, but boy is it brilliant and boy is it fun. But an MLB player on track 6. I've never heard an album have a literal professional athlete come into play and perform with the rest of the band. So how it was done, I don't even know how they managed to pull off such a feat, because I believe this was their first album, so it's like, how the hell did they have these connections? But incredible. For that, I gotta say, this album is certainly one of my most favorite listens on a first listen right off the bat for the month. But that does it for today's video. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe to follow along and listening to more rock albums alongside myself as we close out the month. We only have a few more to go. I don't really need any more recommendations. You can throw them down if you like, but I think I have the rest of the month sort of figured out for rock albums. Before we enter, which is going to be November, I'm not entirely sure what genre, to be honest, I'm going to cover November with. So if you have a suggestion, leave a suggestion on a genre. I'm leaning towards maybe punk for November, but there's no little funny name like I try to come up with for some of these. So, you know, just whatever comes to mind, throw it down below. We'll see if we could do it. But I'm thinking punk. I was thinking maybe noise rock, but that might be a bit abrasive for some. I was thinking just experimental rock, but again, we're already doing Rocktober, and I even thought New Wave November, if you're interested in New Wave. So I'm not too sure. I don't have anything set for November, but if you are watching this video, you follow this channel, and you're curious on what November will be, I don't really have a full plan quite yet. So please just let me know what sounds interesting to you, and maybe I'll consider the options. But I'm leaning towards either punk or new wave, to be honest. One last thing before we close out the video, I just want to say the next album we are going to be covering on this channel for Rocktober will be one that was suggested from a fan, which was the album White Trash by the Edgar Winter Group, which, if that sounds familiar, that's because Edgar Winter is on this album here, which I believe it was on track 5 or 6. Maybe he's on a few of them. But that was my first foray into Edgar Winter, and I had no idea he was even on here. But that worked out perfectly because the next album, like I said, we are checking out will be White Trash by the Edgar Winter Group. As always, thank you for watching. My name is Randy Joe, and I'm signing off.